Okay. Hi, everyone. Jess here,
And Mackenzie.
the dynamic duo. And we are currently recording on December 19th at 9:36 a.m. And as we look forward to 2025, we thought it might be helpful to share some predictions we have after working on six end of year campaigns, being on the inside of very different sizes, shapes, missions, organizations throughout the year. We thought we'd tell you what we think is on the horizon. And so, with that, Mackenzie, you want to go first? What's your
Uh,
prediction?
sure. Well, one of my predictions is about email list building.
Mm.
And this might be a little bit random, but one prediction I have is that a lot more email list building is going to happen in person.
Ooh.
Yeah, with that could be various things, but the reason I think that and the reason I'm personally interested in that is two things. The dog rescue I used to work at before COVID, we would have in-person adoption events, and of course, people would come for that. But we'd have people, random people who already own dogs coming up, and they couldn't donate, but they wanted to help, and we'd have them sign up on our email list. And that was how we got a lot of new subscribers who were genuinely interested. And
Hmm.
then, of course, COVID happened, and that kind of stopped. And I just think that having people sign up for your email list in person has kind of faded out. And then
Totally.
I've been to a few holiday markets here in LA, and quite a few people had like clipboards out to sign up for their email list. And I genuinely was signing up for email lists of people who I was talking to. I was like, oh, their art's so cool. Maybe I'm not interested today, but like I'd love to keep hearing from them. And I was signing up for email lists
Yeah.
left and right.
Yeah.
Um, so that's one of my predictions is that signing up for email lists in person is going to make a comeback.
I love that.
What do you
I
think?
wasn't thinking that at all. I'm so glad you brought up list building though, because I've been getting worried. And I don't
Yeah.
actually ever like sound the alarm. But I was just doing some analysis from some of the email lists we have insight into. And I'm just a little scared that nonprofits aren't actually thinking about audience building enough or at all. And so if you're listening to this or watching this and you're like, why do I need to pay attention to this? I encourage you to look at your numbers. So, for example, one of our clients had like 144 new subscribers in 2024, but like 600 people unsubscribed. So they have a net negative subscriber rate. And if that is how things continue to go in 2025 and beyond, your email list is only going to get smaller and smaller. And not just that, your your list of engaged and interested potential donors gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And so if you're wondering like why it's so hard to raise money, but you aren't paying any attention to like refilling the pot, this is why. And so I just your organization might be different. Like we have one organization that essentially doubled their email list this year. And they're cool, right? Like they're going in the right direction. But if that's not you, I just really think that you and your organization need to come together and put some thought and energy into how to do that. Because it's let's just say that the organizations for us that we've been working with that have struggled to raise money in 2024, there's a direct correlation with the energy and emphasis they've put into audience and list building. And those who have done that and done that well are cruising, and those who aren't are like struggling and they don't know why. And I'm thinking this is one of the reasons why. So
Totally.
definitely think you should pay attention. Okay, do you want to keep going or do you want me to go?
I want to hear one from you.
Okay, one of the things that I think is going to be, I don't see actually any nonprofits doing this. And my prediction is that those who take me up on this advice are going to slay in 2025. And then I'm now thinking, like, do people still say slay?
No, I do all the time.
We shall find out. I think thought leadership in email is so good. So, what I mean by thought leadership, people show up as thought leaders. If you are a nonprofit CEO, a founder, especially, but even a fundraiser or any role within your organization, and you're showing up as a thought leader, let's say on LinkedIn, I think having like your own little newsletter where you are sharing your thoughts and what keeps you up at night and challenges and opportunities within your organization. And if you have a way of writing that that's entertaining, like kind of like a peek inside your diary, so to speak, I think that is like the next way to communicate with your donors. Um, we get it a lot, right? Like, oh, I don't want to send so many emails. Oh, I don't want to send so many emails. And it's like, yeah, I don't want to read any bad emails either. And there are a lot of nonprofit emails in my inbox that are bad. But this is like an inside look. This is like being a fly on the wall for the organizations that I love and care about. This is kind of the inner thoughts and inner workings and like I said, the behind the scenes. And I just think that there's such opportunity. And I don't know why nonprofit leaders aren't doing this outside of like time. Um, or maybe they just don't know that you can do this. And I just think that it's a real, I predict if those people take me up on this advice, that they will have a direct correlation, not in just money raised, but in like, is fans the right word? Like just a loyal, dedicated group of community members that are like, I'm in because I get what this leader is trying to do on a deep level. Um, so highly encourage.
Yeah, that was my second thing I was gonna say. I know, well, I know you've been preaching
Great,
about thought
great
leadership
mind.
stuff, but I truly think that next year that is gonna be a huge thing for businesses and nonprofits, and your nonprofit is a business. Um, and like you said, whether it's the founder or the executive director or whoever, honestly, whoever has like the big personality and wants to like share things about your organization or their daily life, I think that's going to be huge. And like we've talked about before, Substacks and
Hmm.
the Beehive newsletters or whatever are growing so quick. I would actually
Yeah.
love to look at like Substacks growth
Mm,
this year. And not that yours needs to be a paid newsletter, but those are just growing immensely. People just love, I love opening up, like it literally feels like their diary entries.
yeah.
And I feel like I know all of these like business leaders, like Sophia Amoruso has one, for example, that I love reading. It's just so much fun. I literally get excited to sip my coffee and open and
Yeah.
read these like thought leadership style newsletters. And yeah, I think that's going to be huge for nonprofits this year. And if you listen to us and you start doing one, I would do a weekly one at least, or
Totally. I mean,
two.
I'm just sitting here thinking, like, imagine if Scott Harrison, who we all know, he's the CEO and founder of Charity Water, like, what if you got to read like his diary?
Yes.
Like I can imagine it would be like lessons learned. It could also be like stories from the field. It could be stories within their staff. It could be this was the behind the scenes of this very exclusive like 30-person funder dinner, like whatever it is. It's interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm like, call me Scott, because I'm like the fact that he doesn't have this
Yeah.
is also like mind
Yeah.
blowing to me.
Well, it's just like how people grow on TikTok or like Instagram or whatever it is,
Yeah.
like influencer style. Of course,
Yeah.
that's not what I'm saying, but like when people open up and share their little like day-to-day things, it's just their fan bases explode because people are nosy, number one.
Hmm.
And people just that's how you relate to other people. And I
Hmm.
think if you can like lock that in a newsletter type thing that you're sending weekly, the donations will
Yeah,
just people will be like, "Oh my God, I cannot wait to support this person."
totally. Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
All right, you're up. Do you have any
I
more?
don't I don't know if I have another one. I think my other thing I was kind of thinking about was number one, just like yeah, being authentic in any way, which is like a thought leadership style piece is great. Also, like one thing I love right now is monthly donors being treated as like your close group chat.
Mm,
Um, and one way I did that at the dog rescue was we had a Patreon,
hmm.
and I would just send like little messages out what like that were so silly, but every week and that blossomed like crazy. And I think it's just like treating those people, your don't any donor, not just your monthly donors, but your monthly donors is a good place to start. Just treating them like your friends and like
Totally.
your close
I,
little group chat
I'm
is,
literally writing this down because I feel like we need to like do more content around this.
yeah.
Um, but I love that idea of treating your monthly donors like a close group chat.
Because I think that people get so scared, and I get it. Like, I've been on that side. You get scared. You don't want to do the wrong thing towards your donors, but they just want to see you being you.
Yeah.
And like if that's like sending a silly little note of like whatever it is, like, oh my God, our food truck didn't deliver on time. Like I don't know what it is, or like this dog got super sick today. Whatever it is, just like sending a casual text style, like text message style message to your monthly donors
Yeah.
was like it worked so well and it was so easy. And I felt like I was talking to my friends. They would respond like they were and that was like something that was huge too, is the engagement.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that's going to be a big thing next year, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, love it. Okay, my next prediction, I have a couple more. So, a next prediction I have is around the power of segmentation.
Mm.
And I'll just give some examples. So, I feel like there's all these micro audiences within an audience that deserve more kind of curated content. So like you just gave an example, right, of the group chat for the monthly donors. Love that. I this week put out a template to my email list around trying to recapture lapsed or about to be lapsed end of year donors. And I've been getting all of this feedback from people who've used it, being like, that was a $4,100 email I just sent. Just because you recognize, like, hey, I see you as a donor. I saw that you gave last year. We miss you. Give again. I think that we do that also for a lot of our clients in January, where we try to turn one-time donors into monthly donors. I think there's ways to do this via a survey. If people are like, I really care about X part of your program, but not Y and Z part of your
Mhm.
program, then you send updates to them about the X program. I know it takes a little bit of time, and depending on your email service provider and or CRM, segmentation can be a bit funky. Um, but I do really think that giving some attention, not all year long, but like start with twice a year or four times a year,
Yeah.
just will really make a difference. So that's another one of my predictions.
Yeah, which also makes me feel like be more assertive. I was gonna
Yeah.
say be more be aggressive, be aggressive, but be more assertive with like who you're messaging, when you're messaging them, like those types of things, and also getting to know your audience
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
little
for
bit
sure.
better. Because
Yes.
I feel like for a lot of our clients, some of our clients, we don't know exactly who their donor even is. And it's easy to assume that your donor is like XYZ,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't know if you don't know.
Totally. You gotta
And like,
ask.
yeah, segmenting and surveying, I think will be awesome.
Yeah. And there's no like right or wrong time of year to do it.
No.
You can weave it into your welcome sequence and like
Hmm.
get it off right away, or you can send a dedicated email. Like there's lots of ways to do it. But I think, yeah, like honing in on like these little kind of clusters of people and giving them a very specific message,
Yeah.
is really, really, really worth it. Um, okay, another one of my predictions I have is around reciprocity, which is when you give something to your audience. We saw this work super duper well with a few of our clients this year. So, for example, one of our clients is in the advocacy kind of political space, and at the end of 2024. It was a heavy, heavy election season. People that are on that specific email list, I'm sure, just got hit with so much communication from a lot of different people. And so, what we did on actual election day, excuse me, we sent out a QR code for a Starbucks gift card, and we were like, Starbucks on us. And it went off so well. We kept having to like rush to Starbucks and like reload the
Oh
card
no.
because like it kept like going down so fast.
Yeah.
And listen, they have an email list of like 13,000 people. Not everyone was able to get, $5 coffee. But the several hundred people that did just felt so grateful and seen, and it was so little work on the organization's end and such a little investment to get like such a high return.
Mhm.
I know other things for that we've done are like put together recipes for some of our food focused organizations, or I know at the dog rescue, you guys would do other things. And so think about what it is that your organization has to give and give it as
Yeah.
a thank you. I
Yeah.
just think that people love to give, but like we don't always want to feel like a taker. And I think that there are ways to do that.
Yeah. And I think it's easy for as nonprofits to assume that like, yeah, your donor should just want to give to the cause because that's what it's about, which is true, but like we're human. And that's also not how friendships
Totally
work.
work.
And that's how you should feel about your donors. And this is like a little bit different, but I saw TikTok last night. I'm back on
I
TikTok.
know, me too. I said to
Um,
Brad, I'm like, I'm off the wagon.
need to go. I know. I did feel like I was going back to an addiction. I need to go back.
I
But
know. But if it goes away, I gotta like
yeah,
get it
we have to
in.
get our last little bits
Like
in.
a real addict would
Yeah.
say. Oh gosh.
I'm assuming it was some type of like doctor's office. I'm assuming something around like plastic surgery. I don't know if it was plastic surgery, but it was something, it just looked like that kind of vibe. And they were having their holiday party with all their staff, and the doctors brought out, for the gifts, they brought out like bags with like Gucci boxes inside. So
Ooh.
they were giving all of their staff something personally from Gucci. Obviously, I know you can't do that, and this is a lot different, but they gave each of their employees, there was like at least 10, something that they had picked out from Gucci for their employees. And the employees were freaking out. And in the comments, the employees are the people were commenting and saying, "Oh my God, like that's how you love on your team. I bet this team never leaves." And the staff was commenting back, being like, "We just love them so much. They nurture us. They love us. I'm never leaving. This is the best job ever." And I know that this is very different, but the point is like when you just nurture and show that you love your people, like
Hmm.
it just creates this really strong community. And I feel like that's how you should be treating your donor and your staff, but your donors are no different. And the more that you give back to them and create this like space of just like appreciating them in any specific detailed way you can, it just like blossoms into this very loyal community.
For sure. And like to the point of it doesn't have to be a Gucci bag.
Yeah.
I think a handwritten note goes so
Yeah.
incredibly far, or like a
Yeah.
voice memo goes so incredibly far. I was, I should dig it up. I was listening to a podcast around the ROI of handwritten notes
Mhm.
and just like the extreme effect it has. And I have to say, like, I've been monitoring my mailbox, both my inbox and my mailbox, and first of all, the lack of physical mail that I've received this giving season from
Mhm.
nonprofits is noticeable. Um, and and so I just think it's such an opportunity to like stand out. Um, the team, Becky at the Adventure Project, does this really, really well. She'll just send these kind of handwritten notes out of the
Yeah.
blue for no reason. I'll also shout out Susan Ramirez of National Angels. She's really good about just sending me a voice note, just kind of out of the
Yeah.
blue for no reason. So there's lots of ways to give, and they don't all need to be like a Gucci
No,
bag.
you can make people feel like they're getting their own Gucci bag by sending a handwritten note or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Honestly, well, this leads into my
special.
last thing, which is around omni-channel, which is like, listen, Mackenzie and I are going to die on the hill that email is queen. Um, we just believe in the power of it so, so, so much. But I am a fundraiser who understands how marketing works, which means you need to be kind of everywhere. And that's in mailboxes, that's in text messages, that's online, like all the places. And so, one of the things that we've done with one of our clients this year is their donation form does not automatically collect people's addresses. It's very frustrating, but they make it optional. And I would say 30% of people give us their address and 70% of people don't. And so what I've been doing is like a couple times a week, sending notes to people who haven't given us their address and said like, hey, I want to write you a note and give you a sticker. Because they've got these great stickers that are associated with their brand. And I've probably collected like another 20% of addresses. So these are people that will get this kind of gift back from us, right? It'll make them feel really good about being a donor. And now we'll have their address. And the studies show that people who are both on your mailing list and your email list are the most engaged types of donors and who tend to give most frequently and highest amounts. And so, as an organization, like you want to be working as hard as you can to have every bit of contact information for these people. Um, so that you can reach them in all the different ways. Because I do think omni-channel is going to be still very, very, very important in 2025.
Oh, for sure. And I think a lot of people think that sending hard copy appeals, especially during end of year. I think they think it targets mostly like older generations, which it does. But I will say I did not get one hard copy appeal. I feel
Wow.
like usually I get at least like three
Yeah.
from like bigger organizations, but still, I did not get one so far this year, and the year's not over, but I still have not received one. I personally would love to receive one and scan a QR code and donate. Like I feel like my generation, like
Plus, it
we're
would stand out, right? Since
it
you
would
haven't gotten,
so stand out because I haven't received one and I've
yeah,
received so many emails that
yeah,
I don't look at and I
yeah,
like delete most of them.
yeah,
So I think that sending hard copy, well, handwritten notes to be like sending sweet things in the mail is going to be big, but also your fundraising appeals, sending them in the mail. I
yeah,
think especially when younger generations are very used to scanning QR codes or being on Venmo or all of that stuff, I think it was a missed opportunity because I
yeah.
was ready to donate.
I she's luckily this will go out when
Yeah.
campaign season is basically over. Uh, okay, well now we're curious on what's some of your predictions for 2025 and beyond. Those were a few of ours. We'd love to have this conversation back and forth. So thanks for listening. I know this isn't our normal kind of style of how we communicate, but it was just on the brain, and I love a good predictions episode.
Me too.
Yeah.
This is fun.
Happy New Year to all. Wishing you a prosperous 2020, 2020, 2020, how many 25s? Like, oh my gosh, yeah. We're clearly not done with the year. We need to go take a
No.
nap. All right. Bye.
Bye.